In March of 2024, Rooster Teeth announced that they'd be closing their doors, leaving a bunch of iconic shows, but more importantly, Best Friends Today, out into the ocean. And people who were following Rooster Teeth at the time weren't too surprised because Rooster Teeth was really shitting the bed content-wise for the past few years.
I've heard a lot of reasons on why Rooster Teeth died, but it always seems to come back to these main two. One, there was just a general drop in quality, and two, they were monetizing for content in pretty lame ways. This whole situation is pretty sad. Many people lost their jobs.
But the lesson here is the same one we learned when Machinima died. The old internet is gone, and if you want to survive, you need to change with the landscape. This video is about Dropout.tv. I mean, in reality, the lesson is probably don't have a shitty toxic work environment, but hey, I just wanted to have my cool little intro. But I'm not wrong, Dropout did really change with the landscape extremely well, but I'm gonna walk us back to the title of the video, and I'm actually gonna steal a format of a Dropout show for this. Millennials. We're the generation from 1981 to 1996, and honestly, not a fan. Here are just a few sins of a millennial. 1. The creation of Potterheads and Disney adults. Now, is every Potterhead and Disney adult a millennial? No. But they did start the trend, and it has had, well, not irreparable, but an amount of damage on society.
2. All those anti-Gen Z songs from like 2022 when people started to call millennials lame, and they were all like, we're cool actually, to prove it, we're going to sing a passive-aggressive song. And I couldn't think of just one to represent these, so here's as many as I could find.
Now listen Cancel Eminem.
School shootings. The phrases "he's right behind me" and "awkward turtle" and many more I don't care to come up with. Safe to say, they have a lot to answer for, but they can offset their sins with Dropout.tv. Dropout is College Humor's streaming service where they have a bunch of cool shows.
And at first I had the same reaction I did to most companies making a streaming service. What's the point? But what sets Dropout apart is that all the content they're currently producing has a lot of care and detail into it. It's all pretty damn good, but how did it get here? In September of 2018, IAC wanted College Humor to make a streaming service because College Humor wasn't producing that much revenue. And 2 years after that, IAC said, actually, we're done with you, and dropped College Humor. This was pretty bad for the company, not only because they got dropped by their parent company and Sam Reich had to pick up all the slack, but this happened in January of 2020, and that was not the worst thing that was going to happen that year.
The COVID years were rough on the platform, and looking back on it, there's pretty much nothing worth watching from that era. But the downside of not being able to have in-person production also meant that everyone was at home. So people were tuning in to the funny D&D and Game Changers show, and through the 2020s, they've slowly been growing. Dropout has a different strategy compared to other streaming services. Instead of providing thousands of titles and basically saying find out what you like and watch that, they only have like a set of quality shows that they work on each year. But the second strategy is basically there's a bunch of Dropout cast members that recur throughout Dropout shows, and you really grow to like these people because they're funny and likable, and subsequently you grow to like the shows that they're in. Here's the important ones. Brennan Lee Mulligan, the I'm pretty sure only employed creative at Dropout who runs Dimension 20 and is just a cool, funny guy from the older College Humor days. Jacob Wysocki, a newer guy who's all about being radical and cool and smoking weed and shit. I'll just rattle some more off. Vic Michaelis, Izzy Rowland, Lily Du, Raphael Chastain, Katie Maravich, Lou Wilson, Ali Beardsley, Zach Oyama, Josh Rubin, Kimi Abipurnia, Jess Ross, Jess Clemens, Erica Ishii, Mike Trapp, Ithi Wadiwe, Ross Bryant, Lisa Gilroy, Siobhan Thompson, Grant O'Brien, and many, many more. Here's the important thing. I think these people are all cool and funny, and I'm pretty much willing to watch anything they're in. So, Dropout shows. Admittedly, there are a lot more core Dropout shows than when I came up with this idea in 2024, but I'd say there are a core 7 shows. Game Changer, Dirty Laundry, Make Some Noise, Play It By Ear, Very Important People, Dimension 20, and Actually. So I don't know, let's look at the shows. God, this video fucking sucks!
Colombia,
I'll keep this brief. I don't have much to say about this show. And it's because I'm big enough to admit just because something is not for me doesn't make it bad. The show is basically 4 people improvise a musical with some intervention from the host. And it isn't for me. The most I've been into theater is during my Hamilton phase, which was pretty much just me discovering I like rap in the most annoying way possible. Well, maybe not the most annoying. The display of musical improvisation, get it? Because they're improvising musically, but they're also improvising a musical. You get it? Well, I think it's funny. Is good. And I did chuckle once or twice, but overall, it's just fine. But, again, not for me. Another show that I basically have nothing to say about. It's good. That's it. It's an improvised interview show where the interviewees are put into some sort of costume and then they have to come up with a character to interview as. The 2 things I'll say is, I'm glad Vic got a Dropout show because she's one of the best new generation Dropout cast members, and the Talkback show is hosted by this one woman with one of the most aggressive side parts I've ever seen. I feel like you'd need a hammer and chisel to set that hair straight. Show's good. That's about it. My feelings are mixed. Dirty Laundry is essentially a game of never have I ever gamified. There's a secret, everyone's supposed to guess whose secret it is. If you guess correct, you get 1 point, but if you fool everyone into not guessing you get 3 points. And overall, it's fun. It's a good time. And any problems I'd have with the show would be pedantic and annoying to include in this video. So I'm just gonna say it's good. Season 1 tries to give the show this tagline. What was it?
This is Dirty Laundry, the show that asks, how well do you ever really know someone?
And for some reason, this tagline just pisses me off. And that's a shame because Season 1 is probably my favorite season of the show by far. Why? Well, it's because it's the only season that has at least one Dropout cast member for every single episode. And some of these people in the later seasons, who the fuck are you? Why is this one blue?
Why are you blue?
Sometimes an episode is just 4 people I don't give a shit about at all. And sometimes they'll do this thing where they get 4 people from a specific thing, and then they'll mention the thing they're all from. Oh, these people are all from Critical Role, or these people are all from fucking just Dungeons and Daddies. And that makes it seem like a promotion thing, and that's lame. And this isn't me having favoritism for Dropout cast members. Sometimes there'll be 4 random people I like. This one episode has this girl who's like, what if Mr. Beast was real and cooler? But some episodes just have nothing going for them. I'll say this, episode to episode, it's enjoyable. Usually. But it's not particularly bingeable. You can only have so many 4-person guessing combinations before it just gets stale. The first time a person tries to vote for himself to get a point, it's funny. The 4th time they do it, I realize I haven't been happy in a while. It's a good show, just not in excess, and also sometimes episodes blow cock. And just to be a pedant, in this one episode they try to do this funny little edit, but they don't center the text on the X the first time they do it, but they do the second time, which basically means my editing is better than a Dropout TV show. Actually is a classic Dropout show. It predates Dropout as a platform altogether. And it's basically a trivia game show for nerd shit, and you have to precede every answer that you give with, actually. I saw some people online trying to say, dude, millennials are so lame, they literally have a show called, actually. When the show is literally about how nerds are annoying and pedantic. That's the fucking thesis! I like this show, I do. But I also think it's not bingeable in the same way Dirty Laundry is. But I think it's more consistent than Dirty Laundry, because Dirty Laundry relies on the personality of the people on the show, and the fun from them actually comes from the questions in the show. I think the show is a very, very fun time, and better than Dirty Laundry. And also the host change? I don't care. Game Changer is like the big papa of Dropout. It has 3 spin-offs, with Make Some Noise spinning off an episode of the same title, Dirty Laundry spinning off Never Have I Ever, and Play It By Ear spinning off official cast recording. How does Game Changer have all these spin-offs? Well, it's simple. The concept of the show is that each episode, the game changes, except when
it doesn't. So sometimes there'll be a funny game of Simon Says, and sometimes you'll be watching people put stuff together on a conveyor belt. And by its nature, some episodes are more entertaining than others. I'll be honest here, and I might get some hate for this, the first 2 seasons of Game Changer aren't that good, especially when you compare it to Game Changer now. It's just not as well produced, and also, a few of these episodes, who approved this? Yes, I think a great episode idea is to feed various food items into a giant felt mouth. Kids fucking love that shit. And then the COVID season happened. Let's move on. But my criticisms of the show pretty much stop there, as every single episode from a newer season I don't think is great. It's just something I wouldn't be interested in the first place. Like, who cares about Shakespeare? Fucking why are your sentences so long? Just get to the point.
But something weird happened to me. I was watching the season 6 episode, Deja Vu, and in it there's a fun little game they made for the episode. And I found out that you can actually play that game online. And I tried to play it, but something is just wrong.
Originally, the joke here was gonna be a funny samreich.exe creepypasta thing, but when I tried to play the game, this happened. That's pretty neat.
That's a thing, I guess.
Season 6 especially is one of the most out there and innovative things I've seen Dropout do ever. And when you're watching it, you're like, I'd pay $7 a month for this? Not knowing that this website also contains some of the most hellish content on Earth. But we're not there yet, so let's talk about another subsidiary of Game Changer. I'm gonna get back up on my hot take pedestal and say something. Make Some Noise is the second best show on all of Dropout. Game Changer is innovative and creative, but this show is just funny. It really is. It's also the best way to introduce a new Dropout cast member. Like, if these people are funny, I want to see them being funny. I don't want to see them talk about some crazy life story. Ah, shit, fuck. I forgot to talk about the concept of the show. It's just improv in groups of 1, 2, and 3 each round. That's it. And it's just really good a lot of the time. I mean, sometimes the players are a bit boring, but typically it's just really solid and good, and nothing is wrong with it at all.
What an absolute Gen Z nightmare.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, what did you say?
What?
I'm off Twitter, can't cancel me now.
Don't you dare talk about Gen Z like that again! I'm gonna cancel you just like I canceled Eminem!
Gen Z's trying to what?
And now for what will undoubtedly be the longest section of this video.
Dimension 20 is my favorite show on Dropout. Make Some Noise and Game Changer are more consistent, but Dimension 20 is just better. It's an actual play D&D show.
I'm a huge D&D nerd. This is the third time I've dragged out my books for this channel. The problem with talking about the show is that there's 24 seasons to Dimension 20, but it's an anthology show, so most of those seasons are different. So there's only one way I thought I could do Dimension 20 justice without making this video 17 hours long. All of Fantasy High, I'll put that in S tier. Fantasy High is just such a great and classic Dimension 20 series. It's one where all the characters are really good and all the players are really funny. I quite like it. Escape from Bloodkeep, this one will go in B. I think there are some really funny concepts here, but sometimes the episode will get a little bit boring. But it's still good most of the time. Unsleeping City Season 1, this'll go in A. I really like this season. I like the recurring characters, I like the setting, I like the character development. My one gripe is that it sort of infantilizes New York when it's really like this.
Welcome to New York, welcome to New York, welcome to New York, it's been waiting for you, welcome.
Tiny Heist C, it's fun, it's nice, but also the players don't really have that much chemistry with each other, and there are a lot of awkward moments. I'll give it some credit because the last 2 episodes are really good. Crown of Candy, S tier. This is one of my favorite seasons of actual play D&D I've ever watched. I love the setting, I love how devastating the story can be. Like, I'll be freaking out because Zach's character just died and I'll forget the fact that I'm mourning a chocolate bunny. It also introduces a talkback show adventuring party, which is also great. My only criticism is that the latter half is slightly worse than the first half, but it's still really good. Great season, great characters, great everything. On Sleeping City Season 2, this is going in C. I think this season had the potential to be really good, but honestly I feel like all of the content from the COVID era is at best pretty okay. I honestly liked the adventuring parties more than the actual episodes, and they didn't really talk about the episodes in the adventuring parties, so... Mice and Murder, this'll go in B. I mean, it's good. It's a fun murder mystery season, and the COVID issues are lessened by the fact that there's less combat, and also everyone has been given a good quality camera, so they're not blurry all the fucking time. And a murder mystery season probably wouldn't have even worked in person anyway, so I'm okay with it. Misfits and Magic, A tier. This season is just really fun. I, unfortunately, am a tier 1 Potterhead according to the Curtis Connor Potterhead iceberg. Maybe less so nowadays for some reason. The highlight of the season is definitely Brennan as a player. Just a good, great time. The 7, C. I don't know why, just C. Starstruck Odyssey, S. This season is just so fun. It tends to drag a little bit towards the end, but it definitely picks up for the finale. It's wacky, it's goofy, and I just love how Brennan took the comic that his mom made and put it into D&D. Just so great. Love you, Loose Duke. A Court of Fae and Flowers, B. It's great, it's fun, it's good, but sometimes I'm just like, this is not for me. Never After, A. I expected to not like this season because I don't like horror, but it honestly wasn't really that scary, so it was just good. Ravening War, A. I don't have anything to say about it, it was just cool. Dungeons and Drag Queens, B. I might be a piece of shit, but I sometimes get annoyed watching new players play D&D because they don't know anything. Also, the story is just pretty generic. Fuck, I gotta speed this up. Mentopolis, A. Pretty fun. I love Freddie Wong and Hank Green. Burrow's End, S. Just really, really awesome. Never Stop Blowing Up, A. The funniest, goofiest season I've ever seen. Whew. I noticed the list is skewed upwards, so this is what it would look like if it was graded on a curve. I love Dimension 20, and I honestly don't think I'll expand my actual play library beyond Dimension 20 and the Chuckle Dungeon episodes.
I tried to watch Critical Role, but their mics suck, they sound like shit. Also, there's this dickhead Dragonborn who I don't really like, and I'm not waiting 25 episodes for him to be gone.
Anyways, let's move on. Dropout has more to offer aside from the core 7. Like, Breaking News was a show that they've been making since before IAC dropped College Humor. But I didn't include it as the core shows because 7's just like a really good number. Also, the show is very hit or miss because it relies on the script, and sometimes the script isn't funny. And a lot of the time, the writer just tells the comedians to improv something instead of writing something down. Like, that's your job. Like, imagine I'm writing a script for a video and, oh wait, and it's like, why don't you write down something funny instead of telling them to do something funny? You're also a comedian. It's like your whole job. And when I improv something, you can kind of tell. I mean, you probably can't tell. This is improv. One thing I can give Dropout credit for is since last year when I came up with this video idea, they solved one of their biggest problem, which is that they don't have a lot of original programming that they're currently making. But they've introduced 6 new series since 2024, and some are good, but some are I like Nobody Asked. I think it's a cool show concept to have comedians come up with funny prompts and experiment and have experts in the field explain how shit works, but also is edited like a YouTube show from 2010, and also Reika Says This.
You know I like when things get a little freaky deaky too.
No! But Dropout also has a lot of old original programming that's still on the site, and some of this shit is abhorrent and awful and Jesus Christ.
This is What the Fuck 101, and it's bad! It's basically the Magic School Bus, but because it's for adults, we see balls getting stomped on, and also they always say fuck, 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 fuck. I mean, you have eyes, you can see how this looks like Paradise PD. Do I even need to explain myself? Fine, I'll explain myself. This show is just 4 bland fucking characters and this annoying ass teacher time traveling through history to see some crazy things, and it's all awful. It thinks that it can just show a bunch of gross shit, and because it's an adult show, that makes it good, but it doesn't account for the fact that I don't want to see a guy violently shitting on the floor. Well, it is Dropout, so at least it's funny. right? This is some of the most soul-crushingly annoying comedy I've seen since Slippin' Jimmy.
Nuts.
Every episode is the exact same. One of these cardboard cutouts of a character has some sort of thing happen. Then this fuck takes them to always free examples of that specific thing. Parties gone wrong, scams, parasites, etc. Then they come back and we're all like, ah, fuck, that fucking sucked. And then she gives a stupid speech and the episode ends. That's every fucking episode. Even when they try to do some plot shit at the end that doesn't work at all, by the way, all the episodes are the fucking same, bar one time when the teacher doesn't do a speech. I've watched a lot of bad shit for this channel. This takes the number 2 spot behind the obvious. I hate it. IMDb somehow likes it, but I hate it so much. But I will say this is probably the worst introduction I could have gotten to Dropout episodic series because the rest of them aren't that bad. Ultra Mechatron Team Go isn't aggressively bad. I still wouldn't call it good though. I mean, except for the finale, that's kind of fun. Hold on, wait. Oh shit. Oh god. Get me out of here! Oh, a show that's like Breaking Bad? Let's check it out! Nah. Some of these, I just don't know why they exist. God of Foods is a sketch show about specific fictional chefs. Who's greenlighting this? The sketches are funny, but who signed off for a sketch show that's just about chefs? Like, what is going on? Let's see what else they have. Wait. Dorkly? The fucking If Mario and Yoshi switched places, guys? That's who I'm shilling?
I really want to draw a fan art of me kissing you for some reason.
Oh god, oh fuck, maybe these aren't the best of millennials!
I'll give them some credit. This is all from 2019. Since then, I think they've realized that making episodic series is probably the best way to destroy their company, because Dropout pretty much only makes game show and comedy content nowadays. In fact, after I finished watching the gauntlet of lame old Dropout videos, I watched Hank Green's comedy special, and I realized even if old Dropout had shit that would make Satan himself cry, they've definitely improved. I think the existence of these is more just showing that a lot of the stuff on Dropout is fluff. I can pretty confidently say that I'm the only person who's watched What the Fuck 101 in 4 years. I guess it makes sense that a lot of the stuff is older stuff because they've only been around for 5 years and they only do original programming, but I just had to address it, especially after I watched it. Now for the complaint corner. Before I say anything, I know that the company Dropout doesn't have any control over the UI. I know that they source it from Vimeo and that they can't change it. However, all of these problems I'm about to mention have existed for the entirety of the 3 years I've been on Dropout, so I think I'm allowed to complain a little bit.
First, I like captions. I like to read them. But a funny little thing Dropout does is that each episode, your caption settings reset. And the default caption setting is having a big black solid background. So each time I go to a new episode, I have to click captions, click English, go to customize, go to background, set it to 50%. Every time! Like, I feel like you could fix that with one line of code. I'm just saying.
Second problem, autoplay doesn't work in between seasons. Now, it's not a big problem, but also, it just annoys me. Free? I guess they got rid of the continue watching tab because I was gonna complain about the fact that it doesn't work, but I didn't want them to just straight up delete it. I don't know what this section is. Fix it!
Listen, little kitties, let me make this quite clear. This man was around even before you were here. So what, you're all mad because the man was a lyricist while all your rappers are mumbling gibberish?
How do you end a video like this? I could just be basic and say, Dropout is a good streaming service. It's pretty fun. There were a few hiccups in quality here and there, but overall, it's good. I don't know, what do you want me to say? That most Dropout content made me go like, but some of the content made me go like, I guess I do have one point. Dropout just seems to be getting better. It's been in a growth period since the fucking pandemic, and the quality hasn't stopped improving, which makes me happy, but it also makes me kind of worried because it's gonna have to stop improving. Nothing is permanent, everything changes. People thought Rooster Teeth was the fucking shit, but I started this video about how they fucking died. But I guess instead of being a worrying Wanda, I'll just enjoy the content I have here. Yeah, and
Gonna cancel me, yeah. Gen Z me, bruh.
I really was gonna do this one outside this time. I really was. But I'm kidding you not. Last fucking night it snowed fucking, how much did it snow? Fucking 17 centimeters. And like I said last time, I'm not dealing with that shit. So I don't know if you can tell, but this video was kind of all over the place. Like, there was a bunch of stuff I forgot to mention because I either didn't care or I just didn't have time to put it in, because making this video in 2 weeks is not an easy task. Like, for one, I forgot to mention the whole fact that the concept of Dropout cast members that I presented, it's kind of inherently parasocial, and I think that is true, but I don't think it's more parasocial than having, like, a favorite YouTuber. Like, I think in the scheme of the internet, we can go after a lot worse things than Dropout cast member parasocial relationships. Now, when Sam Rice is on a Cut for Time episode of Game Changer, and at the end he's like, oh, thank you guys so much, you guys are my livelihood, thank you so much for subscribing to Dropout, then I have a bit of a problem, but again, I don't think it's as bad as a bunch of stuff on the internet. And also, I think I was a bit harsh on What the Fuck 101. Well, that's what I was going to say, and then I had to rewatch it to find some clips, and I realized I wasn't harsh on it, I just didn't focus on the main problems with the show. How badly it's animated and how gross it is. I mean, I actually don't think I need to explain how badly it's animated because, again, as I said in the video, you have eyes. You can see how this just looks so bad. It is awfully animated. And, you know, I know animation is difficult. I know it's not an easy thing to do, but I'm not gonna be like, well, because animation is hard, I'll give them a pass for making a show that looks like shit. That's just not how this works. And in regards of how gross the show is, I understand for the defense that's probably like, well, the show is about how crazy things happen in nature, and oh, the world isn't as pure as you think, but I didn't want to see all that. I mean, did you really need to show me an animation of a penguin trying to have sex with a corpse? A real moment that happens in the show. It is really gross. And it's not in like a, oh man, how edgy is this? It's like, I don't want to look at this. Turn this shit off now. And this isn't important at all, but most content creators use epidemic sound for their music, so that means that sometimes Dropout will use the same music as Drew Gooden, and I just think that's funny. Now for the elephant in the room, Rooster Teeth didn't die. They came back as I was making this video. Fucking same thing happened with Normal Dudes, now it happens here. God damn it. I will say, I don't think that invalidates my point, because this is a different Rooster Teeth, this is a different regime, and I think that, you know, my points about you have to change with the times are valid, and Rooster Teeth didn't do that, and then they had to get revived by one of their co-founders. Please tell me in the comments if you thought this video was good, because I don't know if I'm just too hard on myself, or this video was actually bad. I know that the slideshow section was really phoned in, so if you thought that was pretty bad, don't worry. I also thought that.